Salutations, my fellow lesbians and crack addicts, and today we're talking about one of the most controversial creators in the analog horror scene. UrbanSPOOK is a massive cunt. UrbanSPOOK's a creator who's brought a lot of bad attention to the horror scene, and he pretty much represents everything that I dislike about the scene. He's a pretentious prick who can't take any fucking criticism whatsoever of his work. So UrbanSPOOK creates an analog horror series on YouTube where basically a serial killer's on the loose and he's been killing people, and he creates paintings of his victims and some of the methods, sometimes, I guess, and so the police are finding it, and it's presented in a very weird way, where it's kind of like police tapes, almost, but, like, not really. It's weird. And the series is often criticized for just totally relying on shock value for all of it, which I admittedly think is unfair. I mean, I do believe that shock value has a place in horror, and it does undoubtedly utilize shock value more so than other analog horror series, which prioritize atmosphere, but I do believe that it establishes an interesting atmosphere with the way the sound design is and stuff, and I believe that it creates a very tense environment when you're watching. So I do respect it for that, and I also believe that the actual paintings themselves have a very interesting style that I do find to be cool and unique. So I believe that just saying his series is purely shock value is a little bit unfair, though I do understand where people are coming from. Like I said, it undoubtedly relies on shock value, and that's where the two biggest controversies have stemmed from. In the episode In the Walls, an 8-year-old kid is killed and then fucked, and his painting is displayed, and each painting has a little name that the serial killer writes on it, and this one was titled Fuck Toy Corey. Now, I myself think that there shouldn't really be boundaries for horror, so it being involved, or being a part of the series, doesn't really matter all that much to me. I think that anything's fair game for horror. Whether you want to support that or not is up to you, but I'm not really mad about it being in the series. Now, the part where I thought it was taken too far, and whether you could argue that this was just him trying to bank on the controversy, which it likely was, or maybe he was just making merch of some iconic stuff, but I believe he was banking on the controversy, which he's done before. He created a t-shirt with Fuck Toy Corey on it, which was in such unbelievably poor taste that even me, a guy who's pretty tolerant of, like, fucked up shit, can say, wow, you're a slimy piece of shit, you money-hungry cunt. The idea that you just sell merchandise of an 8-year-old kid, yes, it's fiction, but there's a line where if you're gonna be selling merch of your series, I get it, you gotta make money somehow. Don't sell money of the kid that got killed and fucked. You were already being told that was in poor taste, and then you sold merchandise of it. And I'm sure plenty of people bought it, just for the novelty of having something so controversial, but it's fucked up. And I believe that was really shitty. So the second and more recent controversy was in the episode Pigs, where dude literally just said, hey, you know the Mr. Hands case where that dude got fucked to death by a horse? Let's do that. And that's what he did. Killer, gave some medicine to make a horse hard as hell and fuck some chick named May to death, rupturing her organs and all that shit. Did a little painting of the lady. Hey, Breeding Mount May is what he called it. And, nice little picture of the dead horse after he died because he took so much of the hard-on medicine. I feel like anything's on the table for horror. I don't believe that it should be restricted. I don't find it disturbing as much as I do just find it kind of amusing in a really fucked up way that he probably was watching Jay Schlatt or something, heard about the case, and was just like, let's go for it. I love that idea.
I know a guy in heaven who was filled by a horse once.
Whatever the fuck he was thinking, I don't really know. It just makes me laugh, though, watching the episode. It's just stupid. It just shows how stupid and, just brain dead this guy is. Now, while people will call his content problematic and valueless, I really don't find it as such. I don't believe that his content is what's problematic. I believe he is. Again, back to the fuck toy Corey thing, he was the one that sold the merch of it. Simply including it in his content was one thing, but selling merchandise of it is another level of, hey, that's not good. Quite recently, another creator who both talks about horror and has created his own analog horror, which is 1,000 times better than UrbanSPOOK's shit, called him out and basically was just like, hey, your content is just shock value. Or, well, it wasn't actually directed toward him, it was just a general statement where he was basically like, hey, your content's total shock value, it's stupid, brain-dead, garbage analog horror, and it brings the genre down. So he said this on Twitter, and Urban saw, and he, who has a history of not dealing with criticism particularly well, lost his fucking mind. Dude was calling him an autistic pussy, and I think that calling people autistic is quite literally Urban's favorite thing. Like, he doesn't give a shit about the content, he just likes that whenever he makes tweets and calls people autistic, it gets clicks. I think that's all he gives a shit about, honestly. Dude changed his bio from controversial analog horror creator, which proves that he just is banking off the controversy, which is understandable, but still. He changed it from that to autistic analog horror creator. Now, I don't know if he's actually autistic or if he's just being a little bitch, but either way, I just find it funny. Again, he's just so stupid. Oh, hey, look. God. Fuck. Yeah, so here's exactly what UrbanSPOOK said. Or Urban Slug. It really depends on the social media. You're such a fucking pussy. Just because extreme horror doesn't fit into your little autistic furry horror taste doesn't mean that there isn't a place for it. Use your platform to talk about things you like instead of shitting on actual creators, cunt. Like Pastra isn't an actual creator. Think he forgot that part, huh? Now, Pastra never responded directly to him, though he has consistently joked about him getting all pissy about it, and him and his fans, too. But, in the thread, guess who did respond? Another creator of analog horror, or digital horror if you want to become more specific, that is also way better than UrbanSPOOK. So Chezzkids is a creator of digital horror on YouTube also, who has a bit of a smaller, or a noticeably smaller following than UrbanSPOOK, but a pretty dedicated following. It's got some clear inspiration from stuff like the Walton Files and stuff like that, but it's a really well-made series, and it's very unique, and I highly recommend it, and I'll link to his channel in the description below. But basically, he saw Urban's little angy tantrum. Chezzkids simply responded with, honestly, fuck you. And honestly, way to go, Chezzkids. Based as hell. But that's not the end of the Chezzkids UrbanSPOOK lore. Piggy Soda, the creator of Dog Nightmares, another really well-made analog horror series here on YouTube that I have a lot of respect for and have been heavily inspired by. She tweeted out, God, if you may. Nice. I'ma be real with y'all. I'm kind of tired of seeing the same shit about UrbanSPOOK. Y'all got mad because the goose put his ass in ass tier. We should have left UrbanSPOOK when Chezzkids killed him. If you don't like him, that's all that matters. The majority already don't. And UrbanSPOOK, whatever the hell you want to call him, responded with, Chez who? And Chezzkids responded with, no idea, man. Stay spooky. Urban replied to Chezzkids, who said that, with, LOL. Ain't no fucking way this is some horror project. I thought this was just another autistic kid with his fursona as a profile picture, LMAO. And then, Chezzkids, once again being based as all fuck, replied with, can't wait for you to delete this tweet once backlash hits you like you did last time. By the way, the original tweet, where he replied to Pastra was in fact deleted, and that's what Chezzkids was referring to. Now that's really the current state of all the UrbanSPOOK bullshit. Like I said, he can continue to create content in the scene. I'm not gonna pretend like I have any authority to tell him what to do, but like, I have no problem with him continuing to create his content. Like I said, It's definitely not for everybody, but I do think that it's a little overhated, and I think that if it stays on YouTube, like, dude's gotta do what he's gotta do. He can continue creating it and continue being controversial and pushing the boundaries. It really doesn't bother me. I don't believe that his content is problematic. I believe he is. So UrbanSPOOK, if for whatever reason you're watching this, one, I know that you're just desperate to comment. Hey, you're just some edgy autistic kid who's doesn't know jack shit. And, yeah, but I'm more mature than you somehow, so ouch. Delete Twitter. Just get the fuck off of it. You are only making shit worse for yourself. I know you deleted it once. I don't know why you came back. Just keep it dead. You're fucking yourself over, man. Stay quiet, stay off social media, just use your Instagram to post your art and use your YouTube to post your series, and that's all. Stay out of it. Don't interact with the other creators. Nobody likes you. The end. Fuck you.